Okay, let's see here. I think I got my Yarok Constellation deck ready to go. Nice and shiny. So I gotta think of what else would be good for the deck to equip. Like there's the Lightning Greaves, there's such. I know. Seriously, wear a mask if you can when you're out in public. Oh, you were expecting a cartouche. I was too, but that's what the deck tech video for in this episode of the Brewing Labs. Welcome, one and all, to a historic edition of the Brewing Labs. Now, for this episode, I decided to actually brew a deck around pretty much the cards that we got from Amonkhet Remastered, which is a historic set that just came on MTG Arena. Basically, it's a combination of both the Amonkhet and our Devastation block, both into a draft set, but it provided a ton of cards for Constructed, and it also brought back one of my favorite mechanics that came from a set. And that is legitimately the cartouche and trial cycle. For those who don't never been in Amonkhet and don't know the cycle, basically trials are the semi-ETB enchantments that when they enter the battlefield, something happens, but they get a benefit when you play a cartouche, which a cartouche is specifically an aura. When the cartouche enters the battlefield, it returns the enchantment back to your hand so you can actually use it again. So, basically, the flavor of this is how the Amonkhet citizens, due to being brainwashed by Nicol Bolas, long story, go lead the lore, were essentially had to go through these trials, and pretty much once they complete the trials, they get the cartouches, which then inevitably they win pretty much a one straight ticket to getting a headshot by Hazaret to actually become a eternal zombie. Yeah, Nicol Bolas was kind of a jerk. Anyway, I decided to actually brew with one of my favorite mechanics with one of my favorite core 2020 cards, which was Yarok the Desecrated, which is a free 5 that if a permanent, keyword permanent, entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So you can probably see where this is going. We play cartouches, which have an ETB that's really nice to get. We also are playing the trials that have a nice ETB. We double it with Yarok, and mostly just see what value / also control we can do. Now, overall, the deck has free Thoughtseizes, because Thoughtseize, just a really good early game control card. We have Cartouche of Knowledge, just a good draw engine / giving our creatures flying is nice. We also have Euphemia in here, just in case if any of our enchantments get into the graveyard, we can actually then, since we don't have much any reanimation in our deck, we could then now take those enchantments that are in the graveyard and then use them just as zombie tokens, which is nice as a creature we could put a cartouche on. Not a creature we would love to put a cartouche on, but we can. Trial of Ambition, just kind of one of the better trials that came out of the Amonkhet block. I mean, seriously, I can still remember a lot of competitive decks actually playing this card because it helps you pretty much go against the destructibility creatures that they had during that standard, which forcing the opponent to sacrifice, which is nice. Edict Effect. Plus, if you do have the cartouche package in there, you can just have a repeatable Edict Effect, which is nice. Destiny Spinners, just in here as a 2-of, just to help us against control magic, just being able to be a 2-free and make both our creatures and enchantments uncounterable. Very nice. We also have Season of Growth in here. Hey, we're going to be playing a lot of auras. Anytime we attach an aura to one of our creatures, drawing a card. Very nice. And also the Scry ability when a creature enters the battlefield. Very nice and synergizes with Yarok. We thrown a card in here that actually I kind of find it funny that the last video that I was able to get out is the Azorius bounce house kind of scenario. But actually, Baron makes a lot of sense in this deck too, because if Yarok is out on the battlefield, we can bounce multiple permanents. But since we are doing this kind of bounce housey type effect with our trials and such, this card actually gets a legit lot better because you don't even just have to use Baron's ETB to do it. Like, you can have a trial out, have Baron on the battlefield, and then, say, play a cartouche on Baron, and then bounce a trial, which then meets condition since you return something to your hand, so you draw an extra card of it. That is just a really, really nice effect. Oh, I even got so excited by that combo that I accidentally moved my mouse. Oops. Anyway, we also have Cartouche of Ambition in here. Another powerful cartouche from the block. Just a nice one to give our creatures lifelink, and then put a -1/-1 counter on our opponent's creature, make them smaller, which is very nice. We also throw Witch's Vengeance in here as our board wipe. This is our one-sided board wipe for the deck, because there's a lot of tribal matter decks in the format in Historic, such as goblins, zombies. I even seen elves once in a while. So this is our situational. We're dealing with a ton of board state of a specific creature type. Bam, all those creatures die. Well, in theory, presuming that they don't have a Mutza Sunborn. Then we also have Cartouche's Strength, another powerful cartouche, being able to get the +1/+1 trample and being able to fight something. Very nice. Even with Yarok out, we could actually fight multiple fiends, which is nice. We throw a 1 of Garrett's Uprise in this deck, which then gives all of our creatures trample, which is nice. But it also, whenever a creature with power 4 enters the battlefield, we draw a card. Or even when this enters the battlefield, if we have a creature with power 4 or greater, we draw a card. Which is very nifty with the, I'll just shortcut here, with the Trial of Strength. A free cost trial that when it enters the battlefield, we create a 4/2 green beast creature token. You see where it's coming. It actually synergizes well with Garrett's Uprising, because then anytime we play Trial of Strength, if Garrett's Uprising's on the battlefield, we draw a card, which is nice. We also have another powerful 4-cost creatures in the deck, so it's really good. We also throw Relnus the Indomitable in here, just because it's a good mid-range creature. We have a lot of 4-power creatures or ways to generate 4-power creatures in our deck, so this will become a creature very nice. Also, it can actually receive cartouches pretty well, which actually is really nice to help us ways if we want to bounce our cartouches, which there is a way we can do that, which we'll get to. So Testing Champion's just in here because it's also another card draw engine. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under our control, we put a +1/+1 counter on this card and draw a card. It can get pretty big pretty quick if we make it. And then our secret sauce for the deck, it's actually Shimmering Chimera. Just a 4-mana free 2 enchantment creature Chimera. It's a flying, but at the beginning of our upkeep, we return up to 1 other target enchantment you control to its owner's hand. So this is another way we can actually, while the cartouches help bounce our trials, we can actually use Shimmering Chimera to bounce our cartouches again. So then we can repeat the cartouche effect, which then also can bounce the trials, and then we can repeat the trials effects. Really the secret sauce of the deck. We also throw Trial of Knowledge, just a great card draw engine, ETB, drawing free cards, discarding a card. Very nice. We also throw in Questing Beast because, well, it already has that much amount of text on it. Vigilance, Step Touch, Haste, all that. Why not use the cartouches to throw more words on this card? But the other good 4-drop that we have in here is Vine-Mare, just being able to be a hexproof creature that can't be blocked by black creatures. Very nice. Plus also another one we could put essentially cartouches on that's really hard to target. And then we throw Yarok the Desecrated, the main star of the show. Once this is on the battlefield and we do our cartouche bouncing shenanigans, it gets nutty and a half. So that's the deck. This is more of a best of 1 deck. You could definitely tweak this deck to be a best of 3 deck, I would say, but I haven't really seen much yet to test that out. Nevertheless, let's show a few games of this silly deck and see how Amonkhet's historic meta is shaping up. Shall we? Bada-beep, bada-boop. I think it's how you pronounce the opponent's name. Nevertheless, we got a pretty decent hand. Like, we're a little slow. We kind of wish we could have a Thoughtseize, but a Baron into a Cartouche. Not bad. It's a risky keep, I'm going to say that, but especially if this is our opponent's aggro, but we're going to give it a shot. See if this deck can face it against the more slower matchups, so to speak. If we can draw a Trial of Ambition, that would be kind of lovely, but we'll wait and see. We'll probably play the Triumph first. Also, since I didn't talk much about the lands, we are pretty much running your typical Sultai land base with a few Triumphs, and also trying Fetid Pools out. I just figured the cycling from the Fetid Pools is a lot better, so we have more Fetid Pools than we have Ziggoth Triumphs. It's interesting, I'll say that. So, it looks like potentially green something. We do get a turn 2 play, though, so we're going to play our Season of Growth. And we have a choice here. If we don't get an untapped land source, we could either just play this tapped. Okay, so our opponent looks like they're doing Selesnya shenanigans. Okay, well we do get the untapped land source, so... I think I'm actually going to let this enter in... Yeah, let enter tap. And then we're going to hold this up just in case to make the opponent think we're holding up counter magic, even though we're just going to cycle, essentially. Because if the opponent plays like a really intimidating creature, I would rather bounce it with Baron in this case. So yeah, we're going to cycle. And then we get actually a card I don't mind playing out right off the bat. So we get a Destiny Spinner. We get Scry. That's a Thoughtseize on top. I don't mind that. Then we're just going to put a Cartouche of Knowledge on this. It's uncounterable thanks to that. We get our Thoughtseize on top. And we get another Season of Growth. So if we get an untapped land source, we could actually Season of Growth and play Cartouche of Strength on the Destiny Spinner and then go boop, 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 boop. We don't get that, but we do have a choice here. Yeah, I think here is I'm going to play the Baron. We get the Scry, but bounce, most importantly, this creature we don't need. So that's Yarok on top. We're going to keep that on top. We're going to Fodder Erasure, see what our opponent's playing. Or Thoughtseize. You see how used I am to that card? And then now we good. We know they have a Mirari's Wake, but we also know they have a Settle the Wreckage. That's good. We'll take out the Settle the Wreckage, because that would be a lot more problematic for our deck. Yes, Mirari's Wake is a very scary card, but judging by their hand, they don't really have anything yet that would be of concerning nature, so to speak. So this is interesting. I think I'm actually going to play the Shimmering Chimera here. There's another Baron on top. That's perfect. Because then what Nets they're going to probably do is play the Sworn Companions, so we could bounce one of the Sworn Companions. We can even just bounce the Baron, actually, because that's... No, it's other target enchantment, so it's not that cute. So... Okay, yeah, there's the 2/2s with lifelink. They're going to Scry. Scry... Okay, both on bottom. That's nice. So here's what we're going to do here. We're going to bounce the Cartouche of Knowledge to hand, because we don't need it at the moment. How do I want to do this? We could just play the Cartouche of Strength fight, because this is on the beginning of their upkeep. Yeah, I think actually that's the better play. So we're going to attach the Cartouche of Strength. We draw a card from it. We fight one of the lifelinks so that they don't get enough life to generate tokens. And we'll just play this out. Tapped. We'll swing in for free in the air. And see what I mean? Baron is such a good card in this deck since we bounce stuff a lot with the Cartouche trial mechanic. Baron, you still surprise me even to this day. And the best part is we have a Season of Growth, so guess what? We're going to bounce the Destiny Spinner again, because then we could just play Season of Growth. We could definitely play the Yarok here, but this is more fun. We're going to play this, draw 2 cards, fight this. Thanks, opponent. I appreciate that. Always be well-mannered when your opponent is nice. Then we're going to play this and see if our opponent has a top deck. And we draw another card with Baron. This is so... I can't stress enough how good this feels. Does our opponent top deck a board wipe? No, not a Season of Growth. So we're just going to bounce this again. And our opponent was like, nope. So, yeah, I think that's a good first game of the deck. I will say that. There we go. Sorry for if the game started a little bit into the game. The opponent was kind of FQing a lot, so we now are starting the game. So our opponent decided to turn 1 to rest us, probably to take out the Thoughtseize. So it tells me that they're kind of doing a combo of some sort. Nevertheless, we're going to play our Fetid Pools and see what they do. They could be a discard deck. Interesting. So we're going to play this, see if it gets countered. It does not. Perfect. We're going to play that tapped. Mostly just to see if they're kind of like a control deck of some sort. Say hi to the doggos. Okie dokie, artichoke. Yeah, this feels like Gritz's control, so we're gonna play our Suggestion Champion, see what happens next. So we're gonna play this then. Get an enchantment. We're gonna play this on tap, play Ephemia, which is another enchantment, which then allows us to scry and draw a card. We really don't need to land, so we're gonna put that on the bottom. Draw a card. Make our Setestian Champion a little bit bigger. Exile Destiny Spinner, go get a Zombo. Then, which allows us to scry. We'll keep Ephemia on top because I feel like our opponent has a board wipe in hand that they're holding on. So it's better that we get Ephemia just so that we can reissue a board wipe. Especially the fact that they play that on tap. Oh no, it's just Nicol Bolas. Okay, fair enough. We'll discard the Witch's Vengeance since I don't think it's necessary. Well, in that case, Trial of Ambition. Force you to sack the Nicol Bolas, please. Oh, and we're just going to play Aronis because why not? Scry, throw the land on the bottom. We're going to swing in. Boop, boop, boop. See if our opponent has a trick up their sleeve. Another one. Gotcha. We're going to discard Ephemia this time around. Well, in that case, I think the play here then is just play Cartouche. Get a few triggers going off. Then we swing in. And good game, opponent. Very nice. Very nice. Now I gotta go see what the dogs are doing real quick, so excuse me a minute. And that is Yarok's Bling. Personally, I like the deck a lot. It is definitely needs to be tweaked a little bit and such, with probably some of the early game play and such to help deal with the more aggressive decks in the meta. But it's definitely a fun, kind of like value-oriented deck. You could definitely do your own spins on it. I would say if you need to do some budget options, Yarok is definitely a must-include, but Jumpstart, as well as the core set 2020, did provide a lot of fun enchantment and ores that you can actually play around with, so I would definitely recommend something along that lines. Nevertheless, next deck tech will be a standard deck, just for the record. However, if you do want me to do more historic deck shenanigans, just let me know in the comments down below. Please like and subscribe to this video if you want to. And also, on my Twitter page, I am going to have a poll on the next standard deck, which is going to be a rotation-proof deck. Because I do have to admit, these two that I tweaked up are pretty spicy. Nevertheless, I hope you all have a lovely day. This is LevDev, signing out.